What is it about guys and revenge? I mean, why is it so freaking cool? Well, except when it's happening to you. Hey, Radiant Black here, and this week I've got a guy with a grudge, a whole lot of bombs, but thankfully no Red Bull, who is Jaeger, and more importantly, should roommates have locked door policies? Trust me, this is an issue you do not want to miss. Pick up Radiant Black 34 at your local comic store today.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Radiant Black livestream for Radiant Black 34. I am your host and series editor Michael Basudel. I am joined today by Radiant Black co-creator and co-writer Kyle Higgins. Say hi, Kyle.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Series co-writer Joe Clark.
Hi.
And for the first time ever, series colorist Rod Fernandes. Say hi, Rod.
Hi, yay!
Eduardo is having an internet problem. He may join us a little later. He may not. We'll find out. It's going to be sort of an exciting, fun time for all of us.
This is also the first time that we've ever met Rod.
Crazy,
5 minutes
right?
before you guys. Yeah.
We only
Well, actually, Michael, why don't we, before we dive in, why don't we talk a little bit with Rod? Rod, for those who don't know, how long have you been working on Radiant Black in different forms leading up to and through now, coloring the ongoing series?
I have Marcelo from the beginning, but I don't remember exactly how I started. But he see my work before and he needed some help with his project. So I believe I try to make my colors like him.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember when we are. I just can't remember exactly, but I think I can't remember. But I remember it's 2 years ago that I
Okay.
really.
I just went back in and
Yeah.
checked. Rod is credited as Marcelo's color assistant on issue 4 of Radiant
Yeah.
Black.
Wow, all the way back.
So more
Yeah.
or less the whole time in some capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was getting good.
amazing. Yeah.
Kyle,
And,
I would love to
yeah.
talk to you about, like, you and I were sort of looking for colorists. We knew we started the series with Marcelo coloring himself, and it quickly became clear that just from a time management perspective, that was not going to be feasible forever. We had a bunch of really cool colorists come in and help us out, but we were always looking for sort of someone who could just step in and take over coloring full time. Do you remember what you thought the first time Marcelo showed you Rod's work?
Yeah, it's funny because we did work with a number of colorists, and for a variety of reasons, it just never seemed to quite click fully or in a sustainable way. And it was always a little amusing to us behind the scenes because, Radiant Black is obviously kind of our, it was our first series. It's kind of our flagship title, and it always had the rockiest color situation. Ironically, with Marcelo, our co-creator, being an amazing colorist.
Yeah.
So it was honestly when I think, Rod, you did some samples for Marcelo and he showed me, or even I think maybe even going into Catalyst where he was talking about you helping or assisting and doing a first pass, and he would do a revision, and your first stuff you sent was so great. And it was a big relief to think, oh my God, okay, we might finally have a sustainable solution here, because we really pride ourselves on all of our books with the color, and so that's meant we keep Natalia really busy on Rogue Sun, and Igor between Moon Man and Inferno Girl Red and some other things. So just super happy to have you in the family now.
Yo, thanks, man. I saw everyone working everyone is amazing, and Marcelo too is a great colorist. So
Yeah.
I feel a great responsibility for assuming the title. And I'm learning a
Amazing.
lot with Marcelo. He's great. Every page that I do, I send it to him. To I feel like he is like the art director.
Yeah.
So
And we should say, for anyone who has picked up the massive edition volume 1 hardcover that's out, we actually had Rod go back and recolor issue 11 of the series, which Matea Ayanoko did an amazing job with originally. It was just the style was a little off from where we usually kind of land with things. And so that's when we talk about issue 11 and that hardcover being remastered. That's what we're talking about. So, we don't have any announcements or anything like that yet on any potential future hardcovers, but I will say that if we do, that would eventually do more. I could see Rod maybe jumping into some other stuff in year 2 to bring the palettes back, so everything feels as cohesive as possible across all these hardcovers.
And with that, why don't we talk about Radiant Black 34? This feels like a big issue.
Yeah.
This is some stuff kicks off. Kyle and Joe, why don't we just start with this very first scene with a donut raid? What's going on here, you guys?
The old donut raid. Joe, don't you love a good donut raid?
I love it a little too much, actually.
Just wait until you turn 40. You got one more year. I already feel I felt on the day I woke up at 40 years old, I felt the donuts more.
Well, I used to be a large lad, back in my 20s, and actually in this donut raid, the woman who's working behind the counter is based on a real woman who I used to see almost daily at the Western Brown Line Dunkin' Donuts. And I knew I had a problem when I came in to see her one day. She said, "Where have you been?" That's never what you want to hear from someone working behind the counter at a donut place. We missed you. And it felt nice to be missed. But
what would be your top 3 things you would like to hear from the person behind the donut counter?
Want a donut? That's number 1 through 3 for me, honestly.
Yep.
There was a place in Chicago called Demon Dogs that used to be underneath a different train line. Yeah, Demon Dogs was great.
Yeah.
And
we went there.
Oh yeah, like I said, I used to be a large lad. I found out the day in which they used to get rid of their donuts weekly. It was Wednesday night, and so they would sell them all to me for a dime each. And I made a lot of friends in the dorm by just passing out a bunch of donuts. So that's a free friend-making tip there. But getting back to the donut raid, though.
Hold on, I'm sorry. I do have one last donut question before we move on. Joe, what's your donut of choice?
Oh my gosh! Well, I've gotten to a point now where my wife doesn't eat cinnamon; she's allergic to it. So if I see like a cinnamon sugar old fashioned somewhere,
a good fresh cinnamon is like the best thing in the world.
Oh yeah, there used to be this place called Dinkles that was regarded. Like I say, like I used to be large, and in fact, if you read some comic book connection here in Kingdom Come by Alex Ross. That's all based on locations on the north side, right? Mark Waid and Alex Ross, I should say. Excuse me. In the background, there's a tower that says Seagulls, and it's in the location where the Aragon Ballroom is, a location that Kyle and I referenced in Deep Cuts. But it says Seagulls, and it looks like Dinkles, which is based on the donut place off Lincoln Avenue. So yeah, that's donuts.
The more you know. Please don't get us a copyright strike.
Kyle and Rod, what are your favorite donuts before we move on?
Ooh, I used to really like Boston cream donuts, and as I've gotten older, I really appreciate just a really, really good, like strong, like flavor, like just like kind of a classic. The classics done really well. I actually I love Krispy Kreme. I don't know the last time I ever had them. But just that straight glazed is like done so well. So yeah, I like those, and then I really like Voodoo Donuts do some pretty wild, berry flavored, toppings and things like that. So they're up there for me too.
Yeah, here in Brazil it's different, so I go with chocolate.
Good chocolate. All right.
Classic.
Nice and simple.
Yeah.
Sprinkles on a chocolate or just plain icing?
Yeah, all the way I get.
Fair enough.
Michael, what's the donut situation in Australia? Can you get a Vegemite donut?
I mean, I'm sure you can somewhere. No one would. That's just. Although I guess it's sort of like yeasty.
Kelly might.
I wouldn't be shocked if it like works fine, but yeah, not for me. No, give me like a hot fresh cinnamon any day of the week. All right, gang, let's talk about this raid on the donut shop. What's going on here?
Well, this was a gag that Joe, I feel like you and I came up with on the phone one night, and it just kept making us laugh, and it just became a matter of where we were going to do it. So this ended up being the earliest that we could get to it, but we just really liked the idea of the sight gag of like some clearly kind of robot armor decked out kind of mercenary group screeching up to a bank and then pulling the bait and switch that they're not there to rob the bank, they're there to rob the donut shop as our introduction to some of the fallout and consequences of the Second Earther conspiracy theories related to the other timeline that we explored during the Catalyst War. So I think as the scene unfolds, they're interested in a door, Joe. They're looking for the door to Donut World, which they believe, i.e. the other timeline, is still around. So what do they find when they enter through that door that they had been looking for?
They
Made that
found
really dramatic.
They find nothing. The toilet. Worth mentioning that is actually a real donut shop in Chicago. That's the Donut Vault on Franklin. That is quality donuts, friend.
Joe, it's so funny when you start being like, oh, I used to eat a lot of donuts. I go like, oh, okay, like Joe used to eat a lot of donuts, and then it's like, oh, okay, actually, Joe knows every donut shop in Chicago by name and location.
He does.
It's like, okay, I do believe it now.
When I want to go to Donut World, it's not the Donut World that our Second Earthers militia wants to go to. No, I want to go to the World of Donuts, prancing around like Homer Simpson in the land of chocolate.
Yeah.
Do you think we could get a donut shop to do like a radiant black donut that's got sort of like the logo, it extends out a little at the side?
From your mouth to God's ears, Michael.
God, the sponsor that would be a dangerous sponsorship for us, right?
I don't think this channel's big enough yet for that kind of sponsor, but I would be down to explore.
We'll send some emails. We'll see what we can do. From this scene, Marshall goes to meet some old friends. We haven't seen Circle Guy News in a while. Kyle, why wouldn't you let me kill one of them?
Yeah, do we want to do we want to unpack that, Michael?
We talked about it a little last month, I think, but
importantly, in fiction. Let's just stipulate in fiction here.
Yeah, 100% in fiction. We talked a lot about the consequences of the Catalyst War, and sort of not many people died in our sort of main character group. I mean, well, in one timeline a lot of people died, but that timeline's not here anymore, so it doesn't count, sort of. And in our timeline, Nathan lost his dad, but also Nathan is gone from the book, so we don't quite feel as much impact of that. And I thought, I mean, we've got 3 of these guys. They could lose one.
I agree.
Hello, Ryan.
I mean, if there's one thing about this scene, There's just too many of us.
We felt that in the dialogue, actually, now that you say that.
Yeah.
It does feel like in a sitcom, like Kramer walks in and they get the applause break. Hey!
So Ryan, what was your pitch when this uncomfortable topic came up?
Oh no, I agreed with Michael right away. I almost think as soon as we knew we were talking about the Catalyst War and it being this big, event, and there was going to be a lot of destruction, a lot of death, we were like, oh come on, I mean one of us has to go, but that's all right. We'll see. I'm sure it's not the last big event to happen. There are still opportunities.
We'll get
But
you.
no, yeah.
There will be at some point there will be a text thread starting with the sentence, "So how do you want to die?"
Yeah, pitch me on each of your deaths.
Pitch me on
maybe
each
we'll
of
let
your
maybe
deaths,
there has to be a vote. Which one of us bites
There
it?
you go.
Ooh, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
do that.
Wasn't there also a pitch at one point that one of you would be doubled up because the other version of you from the other
Yes,
timeline
that was
would
the
be-
initial pitch. That was the initial idea. My idea was that either one of two things. There would either be like two Bills, or Bill would die, but we will have gotten the other one. So he technically died, but which I guess
Yeah.
could still have happened. But yeah, we were
God,
playing
we
around with
reveal
all
like
that.
50 issues from now that this is actually parallel timeline Bill.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Until we say it's not, it could be.
I mean, maybe normal, like our universe Bill actually did like tomatoes, and maybe that's the first hint that we got.
Are we making
There's
this
a whole
this one
side
isn't
story.
right.
You're in an apartment and they get on each other's nerves? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that was part of it.
Joe, you have to write a theme song for that.
Oh, I was just going to play
Awesome.
Oh man! And then there was another version we talked about where you're just not there, and it's Wyatt has replaced you.
Yeah, that was the one thing. It was just going to be like on the 2 or 3 of us or whatever, and then then it just kind of like pans over, and then Wyatt, the 4th member of our crew that does the Invincible podcast, it was just, oh yeah, he's here. He's just going to start. He's running the social media now, and it was going to kind of kick off a little bit more of that kind of idea. Which who knows? We'll see.
There's still space for. We haven't finished
yeah.
38 yet.
Oh yeah.
There's going to be a spin-off series.
It's at least a one shot.
I may have written notes down for that.
All right.
Because I was like, you know what would be funny, and I have an idea. We'll see.
Well, one
Ryan
thing.
Zanotti, God of Thunder.
One thing, Ryan, that we will have to talk about soon is we're recording the audiobook, and there are sections in issue 5 of Circle Guy News that we'll need some performers for. So if you guys,
Now, I
want
have
to talk
also
about
made a
auditioning-
pitch for this, that it should be the dumbest stunt casting we can get. It should be like the 3 biggest names we can find, and not the 3 of you.
It's just we just pull in for like J.K. Simmons and just get like whoever we can to be us. We're the
Guy
cameos.
Pierce. Guy Pierce is TJ.
Yes. Oh. Yeah.
Oh,
Well, we'll
boy.
see.
All right, I'll see what I can do. But otherwise, barring that situation,
Fun scene.
You
It was
have
great
to
to be back in it, and it was I love how we kind of always incorporate a little bit of real world, like what's going on with dealing with merch or dealing with what kind of items can we come up with, and I don't remember when the Stuffies idea came in, but it was like, oh yeah, because that was in the last issue with the dog Orville eating the Stuffy, and it was like, okay, yeah, so we gotta mention that, and then shipping, of course, that kind of worked out perfectly. That the shipping costs were outrageous, so that why don't you just fly them? That kind of worked out really well.
hopefully that's the thing that ages this book the most in hindsight.
Hopefully.
Inshallah.
Yep.
Boy. Anyway, Marshall has to
Good
go
stuff.
leave his buddies because he gets a text from Eva that there's a plumbing problem.
Yeah.
Let's talk
we'll use that
about
to say goodbye to Ryan. There we go.
Bye,
Ryan
Ryan.
Security,
Bye,
everyone.
Ryan.
Circle Guy News.
let's talk about this scene. This scene is basically the entire rest of the issue, more or less. That's pretty uncommon for us to spend this much page real estate in sort of one location and a close location next to it. Why is this moment so big?
Well, this is the first time that we're really, I mean, this is the first time Jaeger, our villain here, has even spoken since since his first appearances in issue 31 and 30, I guess 30, well, 31, 32, and 33.
Yep.
So it was interesting to us once we decided that he was going to learn Marshall's true identity at the end of issue 33. We thought it would be most interesting to pull out all the stops and have him go straight to playing that card of knowing, the truth and being able to get the drop on Marshall, because that's the scariest attack that's kind of out there. So that really set the stage for us then figuring out, like, okay, well, what does that look like? Like, how does Eva factor in? What exactly is the offer that he's making to Marshall? And then, us deciding, again, pretty early on in the conversation, like, he doesn't know Eva is pink, so we can use that for a moment and a nice reversal. But Joe, from your perspective, what was it like jumping into this first, this first sequence with Jaeger and the first, dialogue for this guy that, we've had since he's been in the book?
I really care about Jaeger. I didn't expect to at first. At first, he's sort of like this boogeyman, but as we've fleshed him out, and I've spent a stupid amount of time thinking about him, like, I really like. There's a heft to him that comes through, and a real a sense of personal stakes that makes him unique from the other villains that we've worked with in a variety of ways. That was the first thing. The second thing was, I've been unable to get on any of the rebuild streams because of illness and family things and work obligations. But this is the first time I could say that used to be my apartment. That's 1055 West Grace, the corner of Grace and Seminary. So to see like that guy in that space, and then to see the havoc unleashed in the neighborhood, like add another personal level to this that I thought was. Really meant a lot to me. It gave us a chance to have some close quarters combat, which is a little different than what we've done in some other issues there. Ava has some fun tricks that she pulls using sort of a narrow space there. So I'm really happy with how that all turned out.
Rod, from a coloring standpoint, we're actually pulling up the pages here, so I'll have these in a second. Talk to us about the palettes this issue, and in particular this first reveal of Jaeger and what you were going for mood-wise.
So Eduardo did a great job with this page. The impact that he do with the character big like this, and he established the background light. So I just imagined like a red and green, like opposite colors.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful, man.
It's because the hedge of the colors that Jaeger have, I imagine they smooth like green.
Yeah, I think it's a really nice contrast, and it really accentuates the red in his the red accents in his suit, and then that's actually all been kind of added to and enhanced by Becca's lettering. Like when she sent this through for the first time, Michael, we had a conversation about style and trying to do something that felt unique to Jaeger, but at the same time, something that doesn't kill Becca to repeat over hundreds of balloons, as is the case with 001. So what was your initial impression with the two-tone balloon stroke, which I don't feel like we've really seen before or
no,
very often.
I wasn't sure it was going to work. With this sort of thing, like, it would always be lovely if we had like 6 months to do it and try it and look at it again. And as is always the case, you sort of have to go like see it once and go with your gut and go like, yeah, this will be fine. And then practically, I think it works for him. It feels affected, but not like really heavily affected. Something that we've talked about that I don't think is a spoiler is that his suit is more practical than some of the other bad guys we've like. He doesn't transform into it. This is bits of gear that he puts on. And so I think with a slightly less affected balloon like this one, it feels less magical and more practical, which I really like.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just letting Rod know in the chat something. We just got a question that I thought was pretty cool. Let me find it here. From CJ. Those two red lights on Jaeger's helmet look like fangs. Was that part of the design to make Jaeger more menacing? Yeah, I mean, it wasn't intentionally intended to be fangs, but we did want something that felt graphic and really menacing, but also kind of had its inspiration from the Catalyst robots. The thing is, as you're going to see here, when we start introducing the Second Earth militia people, you'll see that they've adopted that same kind of double stripe. And there's a reason for that, as far as what they think of Jaeger and who he is and what he's doing. And the idea of that iconography starting to then be co-opted is something that was really exciting to me, as we started planning, all of the repercussions that were going to be coming for Marshall in this new rebuild era post the Catalyst War.
And I remember in the very beginning when we were looking at the designs that were being suggested for Jaeger, there's a variety of different eyes, and we were very close to not having those. Well, I shouldn't say not very close, but one of the options didn't have those fangs. I should say it had two little very beady, like wolf-like eyes that I still think was cool. But this is an improvement far and away. And Kyle, you had the good observation that they look beady when they're like in the right position, but in the wrong position they kind of look like a little cutesy robot. I was like, oh yeah, damn it, you're good at this.
Yeah, I mean they were very cool. There was probably a way to accentuate them to make, or like to accent them so that they would still read menacing from all angles.
No, this is fangs. It's cool. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. Well, that would be awesome, Mark, if that comes together. Fingers crossed.
I just figured out how to look at the comments.
Oh, good. That's fun.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah. Just to address a couple comments that came up here. It's not that I hated that apartment. It was the worst landlord in the world. Something that I'm sure will never come up in this comic series. And it was dirt cheap. It was just because I was splitting it with a couple other guys, and at times our girlfriends at the same time also. And so yeah, no hard feelings about the place itself though. It's 1 block north of Wrigley Field. So if you ever seen a Cubs game, just take a block north walk and see where Marshall and Jaeger bust through the window in this upcoming page here.
So let's talk about this upcoming page. I'd love to talk. Carl, can you bring up the page right after they bust out the window? Is that something you can do?
Yep.
This was one of those pages that I think in the script was just sort of 4 or 5 panels. And then, sometimes you open your messages in the morning and someone's drawn this. And this is just how comics works.
Really fantastic
this was
work
a cool
here.
one. Yeah.
Rod, when you get a page like this with so much going on, is this easier or harder to color than like a page that's got 5 or 6 normal panels in it?
I try to fake in the storytelling, so I get what the action is, and I try to get the focus on it. So I always think like the storytelling, what's the purpose of the storytelling. So I focus on that.
Great. Kyle and Joe, we follow this with a pretty knockdown, drag out fight. Tell me about writing a fight for a new bad guy and coming up with new and different things for him to do.
I think a lot of the credit here. We had some ideas, but this was very collaborative with the artists. We definitely knew some big beats, but the way it was presented, and the choreography, and everything. Like to me, this is one of the things that makes comics so fun. It's just like this. It's a team thing, I also write music, and there's a lot of like sitting by yourself, yelling at yourself, and like it's so cool that you can just like come together and everybody gets to be creative. It's like being a kid again. It rocks.
Yeah, I mean, it's also something that I feel like we have responsibility to do with a creator-owned book like this, which is like figure out like the really cool version of kind of everything we try to do. And I mean, Michael, you just said it really well. We trying to come up with a villain that is more ground based again, but can attack in a style that's unique to him with different types of combat. And like it's like we need to make sure like he's different from Shift, and different from some of the other tech based villains we've kind of already done. And so I think some of this close quarters combat was really cool. There's a little bit of a Deathstroke kind of feel to some of this stuff. And I think as we get into his backstory, that will start to make a bit more sense. You can see using bombs in kind of clever, surprising ways. And then we get into actually my favorite page, which is like close quarters with some skills that Radiant Black hasn't seen before, but also assisted by tech that very much seems to be kind of leveled up a little bit post the Catalyst invasion that everyone just went through. So that's the other thing that we'll start to see more of here in subsequent issues, is like all of the weapons from both not 001, Jaeger, and even the Second Earther militia groups, like all that stuff is augmented with more not only parts but also understanding from the robot remains that were left over. And so these have a much more extreme effect on Radiant Black and the Radiant characters. So we thought it was a cool direction to kind of really level up even what the everyday threats are capable of doing to Marshall and the rest of the crew, just as we start kind of like tightening the noose here on what's going to happen in the city and all the different powers in play.
Yeah. Do you guys remember whose idea the motorbike was? Was that Eduardo?
I think
No,
so, right?
It was
It
Marcelo.
was Marcelo,
Marcelo,
Yeah. Yeah.
He loves this motorbike.
It's a pretty cool bike.
Cool.
I just wanted to say that Marcelo helped a lot with these pages. He creates the look, so all the effects that you see in these pages, the glitches, the punches that you see this effect.
Yeah,
He
the
did all
glitch.
this. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. From there, Radiant Black goes down. Marshall is unconscious. He's left alone with a pretty major threat from Jaeger. And that brings us to the end of the issue. This was controversial even internally, I think it's fair to say.
Very much
Can
so.
we talk a little bit about where Jaeger ends the issue?
Yeah. He ends it shirtless, macking on Marshall's mom. Let's go. Roger. Now it's funny because we've seen Roger. We've identified Roger. We've seen him a couple times yet. I still think there's some folks who haven't made that connection yet, and that's part of the joy of it. For me at least, that we've been sort of setting up to this moment in a lot of ways here, and yeah, he's not kidding when he says he knows who Marshall is. He knows who Marshall is close to, and he can get close to them because he is not just smart. He's also really hunky. He's a good-looking guy, and that opens some doors.
So, Michael, what you're alluding to as far as it being a real conversation behind the scenes, from your perspective, because you're unbiased here, from your perspective, what were the different perspectives on this moment?
Well, I think it started out in script, and we knew the sort of the tone and the moment really early on. Like, I think it was when we were working on issue 31 or 32. They were like, okay, so the end of 34 is he's going after Marshall's mum, which gets us into 35 and the end of the arc. Like, oh, gross. I don't like that. So we had that. And I think the first pitch was like, oh, they're at a bar or something like that. And they've gone to, like, he's infiltrated her life in advance and already is part of her life and knows her. And then from there we talked about like a gun show or like a weapons show that they would be doing, sort of like, you know, crazy Second Earther First Amendment stuff at. And that just felt
too,
without wanting to spoil anything of 35, that felt like it was sort of too big a situation to be putting everyone into. We needed something smaller for how this is all going to resolve. And then, Joe, you were like, well, we did say that thing about how Nathan's mom is doing swim classes. What if they're at the pool together? And then sort of everybody started to argue about whether that was cool or too much.
Yeah.
And eventually it was just sort of in the script and happening.
Yeah. And now it has happened and will be happening forever as long as people believe in reading.
I think the big takeaway and the really important question, though, that we do probably need to address is, will Marshall be calling him Jaeger Daddy?
You're going to have to wait to read next issue, you know?
That's what we call a professional tease, ladies and gentlemen.
God. Oh, we should have done, you know, the cover, there's a Spider-Man cover where Doc Ock is getting married to Aunt May.
Yeah.
We 100%, it's not too late for us to do a homage cover next arc.
Ooh.
I'll get someone to put that together.
Man. This is the type of thing the Batman TV show in the 60s would dream of, you know? Same radiant time, same radiant channel.
Oh, and that brings us to the end.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, should we give a little tease of issue 35 here and take some questions?
Yeah. Can I tease issue 35? I don't get to tease often, but I'd love to tease it.
You can tease. Do you want, you got to show the art.
Tease us, Michael.
Oh, well, Kyle, you can decide what art we're going to show, because you can bring that up. But
right,
here we go.
Let me upload.
Wall to wall, knock down, drag out. 35 is full steam ahead, pulling no punches. It's a sort of issue we kind of haven't done before in its own way, and it's really fun.
Yeah.
What are you going to show?
Yeah,
Kyle?
Fun is a word for it. I'll show.
Yeah, sorry, I should clarify. Fun to us, the weird six sadists who do stuff like this.
Hold on, it's uploading. What do I want to show? Let's see here.
Something from pretty early, right?
So here
Nothing
is
too
the
spoilery.
cover from issue 35. And we'll actually just jump right in here with the first page, which finds Mrs. Burnett, Marshall's mom, seemingly arguing over who called dibs on Roger. But
Gross.
as Marshall is making his way down here at kind of warp speed, his presence is made known pretty quickly in a very dramatic way with one of my favorite pages we've done. Rod, was all of that water on a separate layer?
Actually, yes, and I like to bring the light, so I to make the contrast. So I push a little bit.
Well, I love the color holds on the water. It's so cool. All right.
I think that's all we should show from this. No, leave it. That's enough. 2 pages is enough.
All right. That's it. That's all you get.
That's all you're getting. There'll be more as the issue gets closer, I'm sure. Will we take some questions if there's questions in the chat?
Yeah, let's do it. I think we've got a few starred. Oh, no, we don't. One was just my Jaeger daddy comment. All right.
I know you want more, and you have to go buy the book. That's how this works, guys. I'm not going to apologize for it. What we just did was advertising, and that means it was a success.
All right. Well, another fun thing that actually just came up today that we all haven't talked about yet properly is we got our first lettered proof of issue 36 from Becca, which is illustrated by the always amazing Stefano Simeone. It is exactly 18 issues after issue 18, which was the origin of Radiant Yellow. Well, we're telling another origin for Radiant Yellow, and this one's quite a bit different. So, yeah, I mean, without spoiling too much, Joe, what can you tell us? What can we say about who Nance is?
What can we say about Nance?
Be so careful, Joe.
I truly will. Well, I'll say this. Nance is a believer in Saint Anthony. Saint Anthony is the patron of things that are lost. And in fact, when I was a kid, I was taught that if you're looking for something lost and you can't find it, you can always say a little prayer to him and say, Tony, Tony, look around. Something's lost and must be found. And Nancy believes in that. And you're going to believe in Nancy.
Yeah. I don't think people are ready for this one. This one's a weird one again in a new sort of weird way for us.
Yes.
That is really, I think, a lot of... I don't want to say too much, especially 2 months out, but issue 36, you will want to make sure you have your copy pre-ordered. It is a pretty special one.
Thank you.
All right. We've got a few super chats from Common Sense here.
Yeah.
So the technology that Jaeger and his men have... so the technology that Jaeger and his men has are not from the dead warrior monks from Timeline A, because that is what I interpreted. So we haven't said definitively, but all of that stuff and all the 001 paper, stuff all comes out of the accretion groups, designs and weapons and ways of being and stuff like that. So whether it was directly acquired from accretion or the elements were put together, either on his own or with the help of someone else, what we're kind of saying now is that at the very least, regardless of which it is, everything is seemingly becoming more powerful that Marshall's going up against as people start to refine more and more what they can do with, the reverse engineering and knowledge that they're constantly learning about, this alien weaponware.
Yeah, it's sort of this perfect storm where, a year ago in universe, or actually probably was only a couple of months, Mecha and his whole crew released these instructions, but if you didn't have the parts, the instructions weren't super useful. And then all of a sudden, coincidentally, Chicago became absolutely full of robot parts and costume bits and weapons and stuff. And all of a sudden, all of those people who had the instructions went, oh, now I've got all the parts I need as well. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
Right. All right, next one from Common Sense. So this is my last question about the Radiant Black action figure. Why don't you pitch Radiant Black to Tamashii Nation / SH Figuarts action figures? They make toys on IPs of Spider-Man and Lord of the Rings. Oh, I know. I love
I've got a couple of Super Sentais over there back there. Yeah.
Yeah. So the real answer is because, well, it's twofold. One, in that particular instance, I don't have those relationships or contacts. But two, just to speak frankly, I just don't think we're big enough yet to warrant or elicit the type of interest required in order for a company to even make, a limited amount of figures. That said, what I will say is that we are exploring some things, and there have been some changes recently. Or I don't even want to say changes. There are some conversations, some new conversations that have come up that could actually be a path to doing something pretty cool in this particular space. But I won't say anything more than that, because it's all, no promises, but it's if we do something, we want it to be kind of the best version of it. And frankly, we just don't have a lot of those relationships or understanding of the toy industry to even, properly go about finding the right partner who will do stuff at the level of quality that we all really, really want it to be at.
Yeah. Can I take a couple questions real quick? Some sort of boring logistical ones?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Just to look ahead a bit from Mike with the next arc, will that be out more in the fall or out sooner? So I can never remember which American months or which American seasons. But basically, issue 35 is out next month. Issue 36 is out the month after that. There'll be a month when the trade comes out and there won't be an issue. And then issue 37 will immediately follow the month after that. So not a long wait, a little wait just for us to get some ducks in a row. But we are actively working on issue 37 and beyond right now. And we're talking about some pretty cool stuff, you guys.
Yeah, super cool stuff. We're also making our plans right now for San Diego Comic-Con. And I don't know if we can officially say yet, but I will strongly hint at the potential for us to be doing a panel down there. And there's going to be some pretty cool stuff that we will be looking to do in the room this year. So
yeah.
We'll have some new announcements. We'll have some pretty cool, exciting things to talk about in one of the books in particular. And, there might just be something in store for everyone who's there in person. So
Kyle,
stay tuned.
You're going to be at San Diego. Do you know if anyone else is going to be at San Diego?
So I'll be down there, but I'm only doing panels this year. I'm not tabling at all. So I plan to kind of relax and take meetings and talk on a few panels and just kind of call it a kind of a hopefully chiller year this year. But Ryan Parrott is down there, and I believe he'll be tabling. Melissa Flores, Brian Buccellato will be down there. I'm trying to think who else from our group. That might be everyone this year. Oh, Ryan Sidoti, Circle Guy News will be there. But
And
yeah.
we'll put out, if you're not subscribed to the Black Market Narrative newsletter, now is a great time to go and subscribe. We'll put out an email ahead of San Diego with some more information about that. All right, Kyle, I would love to answer this question. I think we're allowed to say this. A question from Nutty. Is the hardcover going to make a return? It sold out right as I was going to buy it. I believe we have sent the hardcover for a second printing. Is that true?
That is true, yeah. So we
So-
are doing a second printing of the hardcover. Ryan, can you put that question back up? Sorry, I didn't mean to X out of it. So I'm not sure where it was sold out at. I'm pretty sure there's still stock available because I've been monitoring that pretty closely. So check Amazon, check some comic stores, and check like Barnes and Noble, places like that as well. But yes, we are doing another printing of it, and we might also be doing another kind of cool limited black market dust jacket version as well. So we'll have news about that. You know, it won't be for some months, just because the turnaround time on the printing, which is also something that we're experiencing right now with Inferno Girl Red, as we're getting that book, which is totally finished across the plate, is being printed. And then we'll, you know, hopefully have a timeline for when fulfillment will be able to start.
All right.
All right. What else, Michael?
Kyle, here's one from Radiant Platinum near the bottom. Any updates on the audiobook you can give us?
Yes. So it's taking longer than I would like, but the honest reality is that I'm kind of doing everything myself at this stage, and we've been recording. So Ryder has recorded pretty much everything except for his scenes with Will. And Will hasn't recorded because he's been sick for the last basically like 2 months with like a sinus infection that just wouldn't go away. And so he really wanted to wait if we could do it so that he sounded kind of really at his peak for doing this, which I appreciate for sure. So we'll have some more, like, I'll be recording with Anne coming up pretty soon here. Melissa Navia has already recorded everything. Lauren Lester's already recorded. Kim Rhodes and I have to schedule a date to record. And then there are a few new additions to the cast that we'll be talking about in the near future here. We have some pretty exciting people lined up that have agreed to jump in, which I'm very, very excited about. But yeah, we should have more kind of updates, I guess, in the coming, I don't know, I'd say probably next 2 months, we'll start to be able to project out a little better where things are at.
Yeah. All right. Kyle, is there anything else, or would we like to call it?
I think that's pretty good. I'm just scrolling through right now to see. Oh, here we go. You know what? I like this question. I think everyone has to answer. We'll go around. In what medium would you adapt the Massiverse? Animation, live action, movies, or TV shows?
Well, I have no connection to any of those industries, but I do write a lot of music. So I'm going to have to say oratorio is what I'm going to go for.
Michael, what would your preferred medium be to explore with the Massiverse?
You ready? Stop motion animation.
Ooh. Radiant Gumby.
The reason that I think stop motion would be cool is one of the things
you
that
think
is really
making money
cool-
in comics is too easy.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things that is really cool about tokusatsu as a genre is practical suits, practical effects, practical stuff. And one of the things that's cool about comics is not having that restriction. We can do whatever the guys can draw. Like, comics has different restrictions in the form, but, you know, you don't have to worry about like, will a guy fit in the suit or whatever. And I think stop motion gives you that beautiful intersection between the two where you still get physical things with weight and motion and movement, but you don't have to fit a person in a suit or worry about what a guy can actually do.
It would be cool to do like a retro series that like using just the technology they had in the 80s, you know?
Or like Jerry Anderson's Super Marionation.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, sick.
Ooh, yeah, that would rock. Ooh.
Well, apparently, Michael, there are YouTubers that make stop motion animation with action figures. So
now we got to get the action figures so the YouTubers can. Okay, I didn't realize it was that urgent, but let's talk about action figures right now. Let's make it happen.
All right. Will the Radiants have an adventure in space later down the line? Yes. I feel confident in being able to firmly say yes on that one. We might even know what it is.
I want to see Rod color space. I want to see more space colors.
Yeah, I bet Rod wants to see Rod color space as well. It's just like paint bucket black, job
It's
done,
just
right?
space. Yeah. Rod, do you share Marcelo's love of buildings?
Actually, I didn't know that he loves building so much. Yeah.
Eduardo hates drawing them, and Marcelo loves drawing them. So Marcelo's cityscapes tend to be, they can be intricate.
But Eduardo does love drawing horses and cars, unlike every other comic artist in the world, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that about horses. We could have been doing Radiant Horse this whole time.
We've got Stradiant Black dropping with issue 37.
That's pretty great.
How
do we not go with Stradiant Bark? How do we not go with that?
You can't do two puns at once. It's like crimes. You can only do one pun at a time. Okay, fair enough.
This was the comment I meant to share. If you could have a crossover with Radiant Black in another comic or series, what would you do? I want that Ninja Turtles money. Like, I want to go to Radiant Black Ninja Turtles. That would be fun.
God, I
also
don't have
am a huge Ninja Turtles fan.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of attachment to the Ninja Turtles. Could it be the ones from the 90s live-action TV series with Venus de Milo? My Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Sure, if that's really if that's what brings you joy in 2025, if the bar is that low, sure, you can have it. Pick the worst live action. Somehow they're even worse than, well, maybe they're not worse than Turtles in Time suits. We just Tom Tashinsky, Joe, we went and saw with our respective others a 35 millimeter print of the 1990 film at the New Beverly. And we were like second row. I mean, the grain looked immaculate.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's fantastic. Those are the right turtles, Michael. Those are the right turtles.
Okay, I'll believe you.
Radiant Black Nightwing, I could see that. Radiant versus Power Rangers would go hard. Yeah, but that's really obvious.
Okay, let's do a classic Joe Clark move. What is the least profitable move no one wants? I want to see Radiant Black meets Providence, the Ellen Moore reflection on H.P. Lovecraft. Here's some fun things there.
I knew you were gonna I thought you were gonna go like top 10 or
top 10 would be fine.
Something.
There's all sorts of ways to go there. Honestly, Tom Strong would be kind of fun, but I'm not going for fun. Let's fight the color out of space and then like reflect on sexuality in New England.
I'd like to choose someone public domain so that we don't have to pay anyone. So like Mickey Mouse or Winnie the Pooh could be really helpful. Just sort of financially would be a really good decision for us to have made.
Radiant Black and Mutton Death.
With a Steamboat Willie chaser.
Yeah.
All right, I think we should probably...
Wait, can Radiant Black date Betty Boop?
Is Betty Boop in the public domain?
Oh damn it! Oh man, I sure hope so. Otherwise, I got some lawsuits coming.
Can anyone really date Betty?
Yeah, who can peg her down? She's such a dime.
Yes, some early Betty Boop cartoons are in the public domain, so we're fine.
That's the one I want. One of the Radiance Black to marry.
Marshall
Hello,
wouldn't
Rod.
get over the talking dog.
Yeah, I do feel like every third panel would be Marshall being like, "You guys can tell this dog is talking, right?" All
right,
folks.
I think we should end it there, everybody.
I think we've gone
Not gonna
insane,
get
so I
better.
think we are going to end it there. And probably all go off and do some work on making some crazy crossovers happen. We will see. Well, so this time next month is San Diego Comic-Con. So I don't know if we will be doing one of these like immediately this time next month. It might be a little earlier or a little later. But stay tuned to the socials and the newsletter, and we'll make sure that we keep you all up to date. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks, all.
And until next time, I hope you all stay radiant. All right, take care, everybody.